Okay. Thank you all for coming. Hare Krishna, Dana. Anyone here for the first time? Okay, 98%. Quite a few, okay. So, what we usually do, we just ask for if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask a member of the Hare Krishna movement about the nature of life, the universe, everything, then we can try to give some answers for anything you may like to question. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? I know yesterday we had some questions going. Yeah, madam.
Why don't you drink alcohol?
Why don't we drink alcohol? Very good. Very good. Okay, we'll start with that. So, we don't drink alcohol because it's not good for you. We don't give alcohol to children.
No.
Right.
We don't.
So, why don't we give it to children? Because it's not good.
Yeah, but a bit of red wine every day is a really good antioxidant.
Yeah, so is so many other things.
Yeah, it's the second best one.
Yeah, I mean, people who want to drink, they'll justify anything by, you know, I mean, we can find justification for anything we do.
Yeah.
People find justification for everything. I'll just give it to you from a spiritual perspective and from what we call a Vedic perspective, which means an ancient Indian wisdom. So it's not good for you. Alcohol, by nature, it's not good. It doesn't have a positive effect on the body. They'll say, yeah, okay, it's an antioxidant, but there's so many things you can take. I take goji berries as an antioxidant every day. So alcohol, yeah, it can do some positive things for the body, but especially for the consciousness, for the mind, it will dull the mind. It's actually, alcohol by nature is a depressant. It's like, that's why people get mixed up, because they're depressed, so what do? Drink alcohol, because you think it's going to take you the other way. It gives you an initial rush, which most addictive substances do, but then long term it doesn't cause good things. So my father was an alcoholic. I saw it destroy his life. My brother is fighting it at the moment. I'm seeing it destroy his life. So it's not a good thing. As I said yesterday, if I became the Prime Minister of Australia, one of the first things I'd do is abolish alcohol. And if you want to make it, then go and make it yourself in your own kitchen or like that. But for society in general, it's not a good thing. And you can understand what is good in terms of food and in terms of philosophy and in terms of lifestyle by what's good for children, as we said. We don't give it to children because we know it's not good. So why is it suddenly, we get 20 years older and then suddenly it's good for us? It's not. Because if it was good, we'd be giving it to children. Like what do we give to children? We give them nourishment. We give them good food. You know, when I was growing up, my mother always gave us good food, whole food. We weren't allowed to eat anything junk like that. So, they're the kind of things that you give to children. So, that's one reason why we don't. Also, within the ancient teaching, if we take it a step further also, in the ancient teachings, which we follow, I choose to follow, there are 4 things which we choose to abstain from. One is eating meat. One is illicit sex outside of marriage and all that. One is intoxication, taking addictive substances, and one is gambling. So those 4 things, as practitioners of our ancient tradition, we abstain from for good reasons. Now, each one of those things destroys a particular quality in humanity. So what is destroyed when people eat meat or flesh? Compassion. Yeah, they become hard-hearted. Everyone these days says, we've got to be good to each other. Right? But then we kill all the animals on the planet. That doesn't make sense. You're good to one set of earthlings, but you're not good to the other set of earthlings. So that's the defect of modern society. So illicit sex, if we have sex too much, actually in our tradition we have sex for a spiritual reason. The spiritual reason is to procreate children. That's the purpose of sex. So at least, the very least we recommend for people is at least do it within a marriage. Like that, don't just, illicit means unlicensed or too much like that. So what quality does that destroy if one engages in too much sex?
Fun.
Destroys fun? Yeah, like I don't have any fun in my life. I mean, we're just having fun like 3 minutes ago, right? Yeah, so it's like, so sex is overrated in society. It's the same as intoxication. Sex is not a bad thing, But when it's abused, it becomes a bad thing. And you see it's the cause of many of the problems in society. And it destroys the spiritual underpinning of society. Because these days, what's happened in the Western culture, especially now in the Eastern culture as well, if you go to India, it's even worse than the West, is that because it's so prevalent in society now, sex is used to promote everything. Just like I was telling everyone a few months ago when we were speaking, I was in Adelaide a number of years ago. I was driving down the road and there was a big billboard, and the billboard was advertising kitchen tiles. So how did they advertise kitchen tiles? Right? There was a lady who was half dressed in the kitchen. Right? So it was just promoting a vision of sex, sexual allurement and attraction. In Sanskrit, in the ancient teachings, it's called Maituni Bhav. Maituni Bhav means a very powerful energy. So sex is a very powerful energy. That's why you'll see in Eastern culture, they cover themselves in saris and so forth. Right? Women dress in a particular way, men dress in a particular way, so you don't evoke too much in the mind of the other person. These days, in Western civilization, sex is promoted so much, it's like the underlying energy in everything, in advertisement, in life, practically everything. You drink a cup of coffee, it's for sex. It's just like everything is just promoted to have sex. And when it's like that, it destroys the spiritual fibre of society. And then people can't concentrate on spiritual life. And then when we come to speak to them about spiritual topics, they can't understand it. Because they're so absorbed in the body. So what does sex life destroy, or illicit sex specifically, what does it destroy? It destroys purity. Now you'll see on the signs as you come into Hare Krishna Valley, we say pick up these particular qualities. One of them is purity. In other words, an inner purity is not there. Even externally, purity is destroyed. If you look at it from an Ayurvedic perspective, if you have too much sex, it takes, according to the Ayurveda, it takes 64 drops of blood to make 1 drop of semen. So then if you're ejecting too much semen, you're virtually taking the nourishment out of the body, or what we call ojas in Sanskrit, which means potency or power. And you'll see that's why in society these days, so many of the older people have Alzheimer's and all these diseases. They get old and their body's just like that, because they're taking all the vitality out, and that's because of too much sex. So on multifarious levels, we have to be careful about, we're not saying don't have sex, but we're definitely saying that it's overemphasized in society. In other words, sex it's actually a divine union between yourself, your partner, and with God also, ultimately. When you're procreating a child on a spiritual level, the science is that if you are God conscious at the time of conception, you will have a divine being will enter the womb. So there's like a science behind the whole culture. So we're not against sex, we're not saying don't have sex, we're just saying understand it within its proper perspective. I can see the looks on some of your face at the moment, they're very funny. It's very abrasive. It's like I'm rubbing you with sandpaper or something. It's like, oh my God. It's so funny when you speak about these things in modern society. Because people are so spiritually disconnected these days. Like that. So when you say these things, they're like, what are you saying? You know? It's like I was giving a lecture one time years ago in some university or something. And then we said, you know, in the Hare Krishna room, we don't have illicit sex, eat meat, intoxication or gambling. And everyone just looked at me. I think it was priests actually, trainee priests. And they said, so what do you do for fun? So what do you do? Like that. But there is more to life. I mean, we're okay. We don't eat meat, we don't have illicit sex, we don't take intoxication, we don't gamble. I'd say we're the happiest people. So I don't think these are the answers to happiness. So if too much sex will destroy purity, too much eating meat will destroy compassion. And taking intoxication, which is alcohol or those things, it destroys austerity. Does anyone understand this word, austerity? Austerity means sense control, have control over the body and the mind. People become very lazy by taking too much intoxication, alcohol and all these things. It destroys the ability or the determination, the drive, and you need that in spiritual life. Especially if you want to advance spiritually, you have to be very focused. And if you take too much intoxication, you lose that ability to focus. So I haven't drank alcohol for like 27 years plus, 28 years or something like that. And I never even think about it. It doesn't do anything like that. So I think we can have a better life without it, like that. And then the final thing that we choose to follow is that we do not gamble. What quality does gambling destroy? truthfulness, honesty. Like that. Because as soon as you start gambling, you see around the casinos, all the underworld figures, they always live around those areas, or they're very much absorbed in those areas. And there's a great deal of cheating and all sorts of problems which take place. So they're the four things. So to answer your question, why don't we drink alcohol? That's the long version. And the short version is because it's not good for you. No thanks. That's why we don't drink. No thanks. Our philosophy is stay high naturally. That's our philosophy. It's just stay high naturally. You know, like I said to you yesterday, put your hands in the air like you just don't care. Do a bit of chanting, well, then we're happy. You see us, you know, off in the paddocks over here, you know, midweek. You know, you see me just floating through the kangaroos, just chanting. We're happy guys, you know. We don't need to drink and do all that to get... Because people these days, you have to drink or something to get yourself going. I'm going already. We're just happy guys. Like me and Money, we're just dancing together. We're just happy. We do this all the time. Just off in the paddocks, you see us kind of floating over the back of the hill. Sometimes. Any other questions? Yes, madam.
Can you explain the symbol on your t-shirt?
The symbol on the t-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are getting deep today. That's a deep one. This is Jagannath. In India, if you go to Orissa, which is on the eastern coast, there's a town called Puri. It's a famous, and there's a temple. I take tours to India every year in November, and I take people to this town. And there's a 21-story high stone temple, which is 3,000 years old. And there's a deity of Jagannath in there. He looks kind of like this. The word in the British coined the word juggernaut. Juggernaut means something like immense or powerful. Jagannath, it's a name of Krishna, a name of God. Jaga means the universe. And Nata means the Lord. So it means the Lord of the universe. And there's a deity of Krishna there where he kind of looks like this. He's like big eyes and he's about 6 foot tall and about 6 foot wide. It's a huge deity of Krishna. It looks like an idol. When the British came to India, they thought that's idolatry. These people are heathens. We have to convert the heathens because they worship idols. And actually, the story is that it's a form of Krishna. One time, Krishna was in a place called Kurukshetra, which is where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. It's about 3 hours north of Delhi. And Krishna was there, and he was listening about his devotees speak about him. And when they were speaking about him, just say like you're here and you hear someone speaking about you outside, someone saying, oh, Adrian, you know, as soon as you hear your name, your eyes go, right, and your neck goes. In Sanskrit called Utkanta. Utkanta means extension of the neck. So if you hear someone talking about you, go. So Krishna, he was listening, and then his eyes went, listening to his devotees speak. And then some devotees came and they saw him in that form. And then thousands of years later, they carved that form, and now he's worshipped in India in one of the big temples. So he's called Jagannath, or Lord of the Universe. It's quite esoteric. Any other questions? I saw some other hands go up, I just can't remember who it was. Yes, madam.
But you were just talking about Krishna listening to his devotees. Were they talking about good things about him or bad things?
They're talking about good things. Yeah. Usually when it comes to Krishna, he's quite a nice person because he's God.
Yeah.
So he's quite a nice person. God by definition means one who is good. So yeah, they're speaking about nice things about him. Generally we don't hear bad things about him. Generally. Although if someone's like a fly, in the ancient teachings we're taught to be like honeybees. Honeybees always look for the sweet things. And flies always look for the decaying things or the impure things. So even Krishna, sometimes he gets criticized, even though he's such a wonderful person. But he gets criticized because people who are envious, they will always look for fault. They will always find fault. Even when someone's perfectly good, but they will find fault. Okay. But his devotees were speaking nice things about him. And he became very excited. And he went, wow. Any other question? Yes, sir.
Is Krishna only God in the world?
Is he the only God in the world?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What's your...
Like we have so many gods like Christianity and Muslimism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and they have different gods for each religion. And I'm reading a Bhaktivedanta, and Bhaktivedanta says So only one God, which is Krishna.
So what's the question? I'm trying to understand what's the point?
Oh, my question is simple, like only only one God we have is the Krishna only.
There's only one God in the sky. That's the point. There's only one sky. But in different places they use different names, that's all.
Oh.
So I say, how many suns are there in this universe? One. There's only one sun. What do we call it? Sun. And what do you call it in France? You say soleil. And if you're in India, what do you call it? Surya. Right? So it's only one sun, but in different places in the world, everyone calls it something different. That's all. So then in Islam, they say Allah. Allah means the great one.
But in the name of the God, same God, people are fighting and dying, killing.
That's not my problem. That's nothing to do with me. I'm not encouraging everyone to fight. I'm just answering your question. It's only one God, that's the point. I mean, okay, so Christians have killed people over the centuries. You see the Spanish Inquisition. You look at the Muslims, they killed a lot of people. Even recently, 9/11, they killed a lot of people. People who call themselves Muslims, I wouldn't call them Muslims, but they call them. And then all the religions, Hindu, all the religions, there's been wars and so forth. But that's nothing to do with God. He doesn't encourage it in any way, shape or form. That's just a speculative mentality or a misunderstanding or a adulteration of his teachings. That's all it is. I mean, if you get the heads of all the teachings, so who's the head of Christianity? It's Jesus. Who is the head of Buddhism? It's Buddha. Who is the head of Islam? That's Muhammad. Who is the head of Judaism? That's Moses. And who is the head of, what's the other major religion? Hinduism. So you then take Krishna or Ram or something like that. So you put them all together here in a circle. Do you think they're going to be fighting with each other? So why do their followers fight with each other? Does that make sense? I mean, can you imagine Jesus and Muhammad fighting? I mean, can you imagine it? Jesus and Muhammad meet. And because they're teaching the same thing and they're representing the same person. So where's the disharmony? There's only harmony. So disharmony means avidya. In Sanskrit, avidya means ignorance. So if there's disharmony between individuals or between humanity at large, that's because of ignorance. That's because we think we are the body, which is a false identity. We don't understand our Atma, our soul, our real position. Just like in the Middle East, they draw a line on the ground, an imaginary line, and they'll say people on that side are Iraq and people on this side are Iran, and they'll fight with each other for centuries. But that's just ignorance. Because you're not Iraqi and you're not Iranian. Right? You are Atma, you're Jivatma, you're the soul. So it's only because of ignorance that we do these things. And when you do it in the name of God, that's just gross ignorance, that's all that is. Does that answer what you want? Yeah. What was your question again? Is Krishna the only God?
Not really.
Does that answer your question? Is that what you're asking?
I think to some extent, yeah.
Yeah, so Krishna is, like I said, if you go to different places in the earth, they call Krishna different things. We call him Krishna, because from our tradition, that's the principal name. But we have many names for God. We say Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Rama is the name of God also. But Krishna is the principal name that we use. And Krishna means one who is attractive to everyone. One who attracts others. That's the name Krishna. So, as I said, it's just one person up there, but we just give different names, that's all.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like that. So we're not saying one's better than the other, we're just saying it's different names with the same person. I don't have any conflict. I mean, I'm a Muslim, but I'm also a Hindu, and I'm also a Christian, and I'm also a Jew, and technically they could also call me a Buddhist, because I follow the teachings of all the paths. So, but I don't make myself sectarian. I don't go around saying, I'm a Hindu, or I'm this, or I'm that. Even though technically I'm part of the Hare Krishna movement, I don't go around saying, I'm a Hare Krishna, and like, we're better than everyone else. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Does that answer you? Yeah. Any other points?
I've got a question.
Yes, madam.
I hope I can articulate this well and it comes out right.
Yeah.
But it came to me when we were walking with the animals yesterday.
Yeah.
Do the Hare Krishna movement, I guess, do they think that there's any point to suffering? And when I say point, I mean any benefit or any purpose to it for humans and animals whether it's at the end of their life or, because, in the Western world we think of an animal suffering, the best thing to do is to put it down. But I'm thinking, I don't know, sometimes in the suffering there's a lot that's still going on spiritually. So I'm just wondering what you guys think about that.
About suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's basically in the ancient teachings it says there's two worlds. One's a spiritual world, which in the Western civilization, the general term we give for that place is called heaven, right? And the other place is called the material world, which we call Australia. That's where we are right now. Right? So there's two worlds. So that's the first thing we have to understand, spiritually speaking. There's an actual world, and in the Bhagavad Gita is one of the ancient textbooks from India. In the Bhagavad Gita says there's para prakriti and apara prakriti in the 15th chapter. Para means the origin, or superior by definition. The word para means superior. So there's the para prakriti and there's the apara prakriti, or the reflective reality. So the example Krishna gives is just like a lake. You have a reflection on a lake, and when the lake's perfectly still, the tree on the shore of the lake and the reflective, they look identical. Both trees look identical. Sometimes you see photographs and it looks two trees. As soon as you touch that one, it just disappears. It's not real. That one is real, but that one is reflective. It's not real. So we are real. Hands up if you are real. Hands up if you exist. Okay, 98%, that's good. So 98% of you will get lunch, and the one who's, you can go and have your spiritual lunch. So basically, there is the para prakriti, which means reality, which is us. We are spirit. The body is a yantra, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Yantra means a machine. Just like we all have cars. So you get inside your car, you're not your car. Right? Or some people think they are. They get in there like so identified with the car that they're like, it's my car. And, you hit the car and they get, you hit my car. My car, but you're not the car. We know the car is different from you. So similarly, our atma, our soul is in the body, but the body is not us. Because as soon as my soul steps out of my body, I just go, it's just a lifeless yantra machine. It's a very technical machine because it's created by Krishna himself, but it's a machine. So our soul belongs in another world, which is called the spiritual world, where everything is made of spirit. But it's a different world. There's pictures of it in the back of the temple. In that world there are trees, there are lakes, there are people, there are animals, everything is there, but it is eternal, it is full of knowledge, and it's full of bliss. Whereas here it is a reflection. So because it's reflected, it is not eternal, it is temporary. It is not full of knowledge, it is full of ignorance. And it is not full of bliss, it is full of suffering. So to answer your question, what role does suffering play? It is punitive or reformative. Why do we suffer in this world? Because if we came here, because originally we were with Krishna in the spiritual dimension, but we chose out of independence to come to this place. And when we came here, he makes it a little difficult. In other words, that's what the suffering is for. So that we will wake up again, we'll think this is not where we're meant to be, and then we go back to where we're meant to be. So that is the role of suffering. So as you say, suffering is a good thing. And, like now in many countries in the world, they're introducing euthanasia. And like you're talking about animal suffering and things like that. Now, the problem with that, from a spiritual perspective, I'll give you a philosophical or spiritual perspective, is that suffering comes from karma. Does everyone know what that word karma means? Karma means as you sow, so shall you reap. So whatever you do, an eye for a tooth, whatever you do, it comes back to you. And that is the only way we explain what takes place in our life. Because sometimes good things happen to us. We're just walking down the road and something really good happens to us. We didn't do anything about it, but it just comes. That's karma. And sometimes you're walking down the road and something really bad happens to you. And that's just karma. So when you are born, according to your previous karma in your previous lifetimes, you are destined to suffer or enjoy a set amount in this lifetime. And you have to accept that, and you can't do anything about that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Makes sense. So, suffering is meant to make us wake up and understand who we actually are. It's a wake-up call. So we can commit suicide, or we can bring our life to an end prematurely because we have a life-threatening disease. But that karma, or that suffering which we're meant to go through in this body, that will then go transport to the next body. So you're not actually, how would you say it, progressing, or you're not actually avoiding, yeah, you're not avoiding the karma. It's still there waiting for you. So from a philosophical perspective, that's why we don't do those things, and it's part of our tradition. If you do want to leave your body, in the ancient teaching it says if your body is really painful because of diseases and things like that, it is said you're allowed to fast to death. You can just stop eating, stop drinking, and I know people who have done that in our tradition.
And that's just hastening, that just...
It's voluntarily destroying your karma it's like you get say like, I got a parking fine last week in Albert Park, in our temple. I went and parked up there, and I was in the wrong area and they gave me a parking fine. So you need to park in that area, you need a permit. You have to be authorized by an authority. So the authority is the supreme person, Krishna, and he says, I'll give you a permit. You want to leave early because you're really suffering? Doesn't mean you can just do it any day. Just like, I don't really like the weather today, I think I'll just fast to death. But it does mean that. It means like if you're in a really bad circumstance, God's compassionate, he understands. So he says, okay, here's a permit. You can fast yourself to death. And you can destroy all of that suffering in that minimal time. And then if you're pure, you can be liberated. So he gives you a permit, but he doesn't give you a permit just to do it any way you want, under any circumstances like that. It's not like that. You have to get the permit. And the problem is these days we don't get permits for things. And that's why everyone's in trouble. Just like people eat meat all over the world. But if you want to eat meat, you have to get a permit to eat meat. And who do you have to get the permit from? Who is the only person who can give you permit to? It's actually the person who created the animal. Right? In other words, if you can create life, you can take life. Does that sound reasonable? Right? People these days, they say, I want to take life. Okay, you can say you can do that. But then can you create life? Can you give life back to an animal? We have the power to take the life. Yeah, that's in our power. But we don't have the power to give the life. So if you don't have the power to give it, you don't have the power to take it. Or you don't have the right to take it. So that's why part of the reason why we're vegetarian is because we don't have permission. There's no permission coming from higher forces or higher intelligence or the Creator saying that you can take like that. And if you do take like that, unnecessarily, if you do take the animal's life, then you're in the wheel of karma. Karma means as you sow, so shall you reap. In your next, it's actually interesting in the Vedas, because in the Vedas, there is permission given to eat meat. But you can only eat goat meat. And you have to get a goat which is black. So it's already made it difficult. And if you get the black goat, you can only eat the black goat on a dark moon night. And when you're about to slit the goat's throat, on a black goat on a dark moon night, it's already become quite... So you must be really determined to eat meat, right? And if you're really about to do it, and then you have to chant a mantra into the animal's ear just before you slit its throat and say, I am taking your life now, but you can take mine in the future. You sign an ethereal contract. So if you're still going to eat meat then that's pretty... What do we call that? That's called ignorance. So you can eat meat, everyone can do whatever they want. We all do whatever. Like we're all going to get out of, when I finish talking, because everyone wants to eat anyway, right? So when I finish talking, everyone's going to walk out, and then, when this retreat's finished, everyone's going to go off and they're going to do what they want in the world. And that's fine, you can all do what you want. But you have to accept the ramifications for your activities. So if you want to eat meat and do all these things, you can do whatever you want. The whole world's doing it. But don't expect peace in yourself and peace in society if we're not following higher authorities.
What if you've already been doing that? Like, have you already stuffed up your karma?
Yeah, you're stuffed, man. You're really stuffed.
Like eating meat and having no awareness of it, that maybe you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of...
You're really stuffed. No, because Krishna's like... Everyone here is, I think most people in this room, I'd say 98% of people, hands up if you're reasonable. Like I'll go 30%. Okay, it's a good audience. Most of us are reasonable, right? At least I can say, hey, I'm reasonable, like that. So, if my daughter does something, I don't say, oh my God, you know, you broke that toy, you know, you will go and stay in the forest for 6 nights. You know, it's like, that's not reasonable. So, you know, Krishna's not like that. He's just I mean, look at him, that's Krishna, that's God. You know, does he look like a reasonable guy? You know, he's not sitting there with a thunderbolt, like, you know, right? He's not like that. So, okay, yeah, I ate meat. I did, you know, we're not supposed to eat meat, have illicit sex, take intoxication and gambling. I did all that stuff before I became a Hare Krishna. So it's not like now, and he's like, oh yeah, but you did that in 1977. You know, you stood on an ant in 1977. It's like, you know, it's like, he's not like, he's a reasonable person. Because that's the difference between vidya and avidya. Avidya means ignorance, and vidya means enlightenment or knowledge. So once you have the enlightened path, then if you go back, no, if I do it now, yeah, I know it's going to be serious. Yeah, I can't go off into the forest, have my steak, and then come back and like, you know, then I'm really going to get hammered. Guarantee. I know, because I know I have a relationship with this person every second of the day. He's in my consciousness pretty much all the time. And I know that if I do something radical like that, he's no nonsense. He does it to me all the time, like, you know, because we all slip up, we all do things, you know, like major things, but, you know, we have the wrong thoughts or the wrong. As soon as it happens, it's just like, you know, I have this dialogue with him all the time. It's like, man, you're just there, aren't you? So like, you watch it all over. Hey. So if you deviate, yes, of course. But if you've done something in ignorance, like a child, if he does something in ignorance, like, you know, if my daughter does something, she doesn't know she did it, I don't get so angry. Right? But if I tell her, hey, don't do that, and then tomorrow she does the same thing, now I get angry. I say, hey, what are you doing? You know, this is, if you're going to grow up and be like that, what is your life going to be like? That's discipline. If you don't discipline the child becomes ruled. So it has to be good, I mean, within reason, good discipline. Yes, madam.
Just that you mentioned that about children.
Yeah.
My partner and I, we became vegetarians a few years ago, and now we have a little child.
Yeah.
He eats pretty well. We want to raise him as a vegetarian, but we just noticed that he's all over me. Wherever he says that, or he just goes and grab it. So we got friends that are no vegetarians. They got a barbecue, and he's just so into. So you saying that about your daughter, like, we don't want to force anything on him apart of giving some guidance and the opinion of why we became vegetarians. But how do you deal with that? In a gentle, respectful way, because it looks very natural on him what he's doing, eating meat. Yeah.
It's just education, that's all you can do. Like my daughter would never eat meat because it's just education. Because she has a value system. Because she understands that the cows, like we have these beautiful cows in our farm, they're equal to us. You'll only eat another animal if you feel superior to that animal. And that's the defect, because spiritually we're not superior. Spiritually we're all equal. Right? That's what Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita. I was explaining that yesterday. Samadarshana. Samadarshana means equal vision. We see everything equally. You know, why am I better than that plant out there? Because there's a soul there, there's a soul here, so why am I better? No, we're equal. So you only eat the animal when you feel superior to the animal. And that's false. That's ignorance. So you just have to educate, give spiritual education to the child. And then when the child gets to the age of 16 or 17 or 18, they'll do what they want anyway. So, yeah, my daughter, I hope and I pray that she will always, you know, follow that path. But, you know, it's her choice eventually. But I will give as much guidance as I can up until that point, and then I don't know if that helps, or just bring them here and then we have barbecues, but we throw tofu steaks and stuff on the barbecue. So.
That's the other side of it. Like, don't want to relate to people feeling, oh no, we're superior because we don't eat meat, so I don't want to hang up with you because you eat it. No, it's nothing like that. It's just, we don't want to put him aside of what our friends do or people around, or saying, no, like, you don't do it because that's wrong. We do better this way. No. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Probably more that opinion than a question, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's good. The question's good. But It's a shame about our materialistic society at this point in time. It's just a shame that society is like it is now. I don't think there's anyone in this room who really thinks society is good. I mean, hands up if you think society is doing really well right now. One good. And he took a while to think. It's only because he's young. We all know because he's only like 7 years old or something. And even he was half-hearted when he put up.
7 years old.
Yeah, 7 years old. So it was a half-hearted 7-year-old. You know, he's not happy with society. But the rest of us, we don't like the way society is. I don't like the way society is. Right? And it's a shame because then you're bringing up your children with a certain value system, and they go to school and everyone's doing exactly the opposite thing. Very enlightening questions so far. Someone else? I saw. Yes, ma'am.
So back to the question about the suffering.
Yeah.
So do you feel the body is what's actually suffering, or is it the spirit?
It's the body and the mind which suffer. The spirit is detached from all these things. The spirit is the soul, or jivatma, we say in Sanskrit. The soul is going through what is like a dreamlike state at this point in time. So the mind is suffering, the body is suffering, but because the soul identifies with the mind or the body, then we feel like we are suffering. But actually we are detached from that suffering. Just like when you're dreaming, sometimes in a dream you might feel like a tiger's attacking you or something, and you wake up and it's not there, it's just a dream. So similarly in this world, everything the soul experiences through the body and the mind, that is a dreamlike state. That's nothing to do with the soul per se. So because of identification, then that is why we are suffering in this world.
So is the mind a part of the body or the spirit?
The mind is in between the body and the spirit. There's two bodies. There's a subtle body and a gross body. The gross body is this body. And Krishna says in the Gita, this body is made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. 5 elements. That's what the gross body is. Earth means matter, solid. Water means liquid. You know, we're 78% liquid. Fire means heat. You see, like, there's red in my hand. You've touched me, it's hot. So there's the fire elements in there. Air means there's a lot of space. Air, the airs are pushing things around the body, like that. And ether literally means space, like that. Particularly in this area, there's a lot of space. So these 5 elements make up the gross body. And then underneath this gross body, there's another body which is made of mind, intelligence, and ego. 3 other elements, which are subtle elements. Mind is very subtle, intelligence is very subtle, ego is very subtle. And as we were discussing yesterday, if someone becomes a ghost, then that's what you see. When sometimes you see like a ghost, it's the subtle body, because the gross body has been destroyed, and then you'll see the subtle form is still there. And then the soul is contained within that subtle body. And the subtle body is what takes us to our next gross body, which means the next, if I go into the body of a pig, then my subtle body, the mind and everything, takes me into that body then. Does that make sense? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. So suffering is the mind and the body. The soul does not suffer. The soul is only full of bliss. Because we don't remember we're the soul, then we suffer. But if you remember that you're the soul, then you're blissful. You don't suffer.
So if it's the mind and the body that suffers, and suffering comes based off of karma, the karma comes out of the spirit, because from the spirit is where you're making your choices.
Yeah, it's a misdirected spirit, that's what it is. Because all of us have choice. We have free will. That's given to us by our source, our creator. We have free will. So when you misuse the free will, that's when you get the karma, that's when you suffer. If you act properly, then you don't get karma. That's what Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita. It's called akarma. Akarma means no karma. So it's like for us as the Hare Krishna people, we don't accumulate karma because we understand how to act properly in this world. So we follow a certain pattern or a certain lifestyle which liberates you from this world, as opposed to it bind you within the world. So we just have to make the right choices. That's all. So if you act improperly, yes, you get karma. But if you act properly, then you become liberated from this cycle of birth and death.
So I just have one more question. All right. So ultimately, when someone is suffering, whether it's body, mind, spirit, it affects the people around them. But if the suffering is all ultimately based on that person's karma. How do you manage when someone is suffering in your community, not affecting, you know, like when someone's dying or someone's got an illness, it affects the family and the friends around them.
Yeah, that's
I
karma.
don't know
That's karma also. That's also our karma. Like my father died from motor neuron disease, which is, you know, it's actually considered in the world to be the most unpalatable, the most unpleasant way to die. When your body, because basically your cells begin to dysfunction all the way up to from the bottom to the top. And my mother had cancer at one point, and she survived and she kept going. But I mean, I underwent suffering because of their suffering. So that's karma. When someone we're attached to, right, is suffering, then we also suffer. So then if you analyze why we are suffering, what is the reason or the cause of our suffering? It's attachment. Because we're attached. As soon as you get to attach to something, then you suffer. When you begin to lose that thing or something. So when you become enlightened, you become detached from this world. So in this world, we're attached. Like I'm attached to my wife, I'm attached to my daughter, I'm attached to those I love. You know, that's natural. But that, because we have a spiritual consciousness, that attachment is tempered with knowledge that everything in this world is temporary. So even when you lose someone who's very dear to you, we keep going on because we understand that's the nature of this world. We will suffer. It's not that we're unaffected, but we understand it within a balanced perspective. Like, well, I know that I'm not going to live forever. That's granted, right? So I know I'm going to die, so I have to face my own mortality. That's fearful, right? But that's something we have to come to terms with our spiritual understanding. But I know that everyone in this room is going to die, right? Because that's just the nature. So when it happens, then we have to deal with that. So it's according to a higher knowledge that we become detached and when we overcome suffering. Does that give some clarity? Yeah. Good. Someone else had a question? So someone in this area. Yes, sir.
How do we view someone that brings suffering into our lives? How do we treat them?
How we treat them? Usually pick up a really big stick. That's how I deal with it.
In the case of Jesus Christ, when he was being crucified, he said, please forgive them. So what kind of compassion, or what's the outcome of being compassionate towards those who bring suffering into our life? What is the teaching?
People who give you suffering. There's always going to be someone in this world who gives you suffering. Hands up if there's anyone in this world who gives you suffering. Okay, my wife put her hand up really quick. So what does that mean? So someone will give us something that's guaranteed in this world. Right? We all live in a way, everyone gives us a hard time. Right? So it's going to come at us from some direction. So how do we feel towards that person? If we're on the most enlightened level, the most enlightened level is we understand that suffering they're giving us is because the way we treated people in their previous lifetimes. So that is our karma. So as you said, then you become forgiving of that, or you become tolerant of that, because you understand this is what I deserve according to my previous activities. So if you understand like that, then you will be, as you said, forgiving towards that person. You won't take that person. But that's a very exalted level of consciousness to live on. But we should aspire to be something like that at least. That if someone causes us suffering, then we don't. The main thing is we don't retaliate towards the person. But simultaneously, we don't become a victim or we don't become an ignorant bystander. If sometimes someone treats us improperly, then we have to deflect that, or we have to protect ourselves from that. It's not that it's just justified just because someone decides to go into. Like if someone physically came in here now and started attacking people, I'm not going to just sit here passively and just say, would you like a pakora? Like that. I'll get up and I'll strike the person and I'll knock them out and I'll take them outside and I'll say, don't do like that. Because it's not appropriate. So it's not that we're impractical. We will defend when someone is acting improperly. But simultaneously, you have to understand, especially mentally or vocally, if someone says something to you which is nasty, you just have to accept that because, and just, you distance yourself from those people. They're going to act like, not proper etiquette, then you just distance yourself. That's what I try to do. As much as I can. So, okay? Yeah. Yes, madam.
As you said, like our gross body is made up of 5 elements.
Yeah.
And then we have mind, intelligence, and ego.
Yeah.
So what's the composition of the soul? What is it made up of? And it doesn't have any physical shape, or we just can't see it, you know, but what is it made up of?
What is the soul made up of? Yeah. The soul has 3 elements. First one is eternality. The second one, which is called Sat in Sanskrit. And the second one is Chit. Chit means consciousness, or life, awareness. And the third one is Ananda. Ananda means bliss. So the nature of the soul is that we are eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Now, what form does the soul have? The soul, when you go back to the spiritual world, you'll get a form. You see, like Krishna has so many friends in the pictures, so you'll get a form like one of his friends, and you'll associate with him. You'll get a spiritual form. So you'll have a body, but the body, at the moment, our body and our soul are different. But in the spiritual world, your body and your soul are one. They are the same. So the form you have serves Krishna in that pure spiritual form. And as for how can we see the soul in this world, you can't see the soul in this world because we don't have the eyes to see the soul. I can only see matter, but I can't see your soul. I can see the material form because I have material eyes. But when you have spiritual eyes, then you can see the soul. It's okay. Any other questions from our enlightened audience about life, the universe, and everything?
So what, I have a small question. What is the reason those who follow spiritualism, they shave the head and keep small portion of the hair in the back? What is the reason behind that?
I told you guys yesterday, so you can answer. Does anyone remember why we shave our heads and why we keep the bit on the back?
It's because of the ego. When all your hair is related to the size of your ego or something like that, so you shave it off to...
Yeah, people have long hair, have really big egos.
to get rid of the ego.
You should get a crew cut.
And then they leave the part at the back because that represents the person.
Yeah, personalism. Yeah, very good. That's very good. So yeah, we shave because it's detachment, like that. And it's also cheaper. I'm serious. I'm actually serious. It's actually cheaper. I mean, I was a model and an actor. I mean, the amount of money I must have spent on, hair products, hair conditioners, and the amount of time I must have spent, looking in front of the mirror, just going like now it's just like get up in the morning, just like one wipe, it's done, and then that's it. I put a bit of oil in the seeker just to keep it, tidy, and then that's it. So yeah, we shave our heads because of renunciation. It's just our philosophy to live simply. Reduce things, don't increase things. The modern world tries to increase things. The more you have, the happier you'll be. Just like, who's going to be the next president of America? Right? 50% chance it's going to be Donald Trump. Right? Now, what's his motto? Right? His motto, he said recently, I heard one of his mottos, he said, "He who dies with the most toys wins." This is the philosophy of the guy. Right? He's probably going to be the leader of the free world in 12 months' time. So we're all going to be like, yeah, the more we get, the happier we're going to be because Donald's so happy. You see his family. I've been watching, sometimes you see the footage and he's giving his speech and his wife and daughter are next to him. They look scared, in my opinion. To be honest, that's just my objective opinion. They look scared. They're like listening to what's coming out of his mouth, and I think they're thinking, my God, I don't know what this guy's saying. I can't believe what this guy's saying. And they look actually scared. Like, if we say anything, God knows what's going to happen. I don't know what he's going to do, but... the way we live, our philosophy is to simplify life, not to... the more you get, the more material objects you get, they can't give you happiness. Right? It's all in the mind. Right? Like, I've got a watch, right? That's just a watch. Right? Why have I got that particular type of watch? It's called a G-Shock watch, because I live on a farm. Right? G-Shock. Right? You can drop that 100 times, it doesn't do anything, it keeps working. Right? So it's just a very practical watch. That's why I choose that watch. Right? A friend of mine brought it for me. He said, have this watch, no problems. And it's true, I've had that for 8 years or something. keeps working. It's a good watch. So that's a good watch. That's practical. But in the mind, someone will think, no, I need a Rolex. It needs to say Rolex on it. Or it needs to say, what does Brad Pitt wear? I don't know what he wears, but I'm just saying. Because in your, if you go through Singapore airport, every year I go to India, I go through Singapore airport and then Brad's always there. There's a picture of Brad going. Chanel number 5 for men. Okay. Because then your mental conception is that if I wear Chanel number 5, right, which I personally wear, right? Chanel, I don't really, but if you wear Chanel number 5, then you'll be in your mind. You're like, I'm Brad Pitt, and my wife's Angelina Jolie. So it's a mental conception. So our philosophy is to simplify things instead, because material things, they can't give you happiness. That watch can't make me happy, right? If it's got a little Rolex on it, in my mind I might think, oh wow, when I'm wearing it, and it gives you like a sense of superiority to others, but that's all false. So better that we learn to simplify our lives. That's why we shave our head. It's just simplicity. That's what it is. It's renunciation, it's detachment. It makes life easier. It actually makes life easier. That's why I do it. I haven't grown my hair much longer than this for like 25 years or so. It just makes life more simple. Now why do I keep that? Because I renounce this world, but I believe God is a person. Because a lot of spiritual groups these days, they believe God is just light or energy, like cosmic light or cosmic or oneness, just energy. Whereas in our tradition, we understand God is a person, just like hands up if anyone here is a person. Okay, it's good, 98%. That's good. So everyone thinks we're a person. So also in our tradition, God is also a person. He has a name, he has a body, he has likes, he likes certain types of foods, he has all these qualities like that. So it shows in our tradition that we understand and we believe and we have that. So it just defines that we are from a particular thought school. Because if you go to India, there's many people, we all look the same, we all shave our heads, we wear robes, but then it shows which tradition we are coming from. Any other questions? Madam?
If you become Hare Krishna, are you given a new name? And if you are, how is that? Who gives you that name and where does it come from?
Yeah. The names that we get when we join the Hare, we get our names at the time of initiation. We take certain vows. The vows we take: we won't eat meat ever again, we won't have illicit sex ever again, we won't take intoxication ever again, and we won't gamble ever again. So, that's the vows we take. So it's a choice we take. So at that time, you take those vows before the Guru, and then the Guru gives you your spiritual name. So my name used to be Carl, and now it's Keshava, like that. So the names are names of Krishna, names of God. And Keshava means one has beautiful black hair. You see, Krishna always has beautiful black hair. So it's a name. So whenever we speak to each other, people call me Keshava, the names of Krishna have spiritual potency, just like before we're all chanting Hare Krishna, when we're all dancing and chanting together. So because they're names of God, it has spiritual potency, or Nijasava Shakti. Shakti means energy. It has divine bliss within that mantra. So when you chant that mantra, you can also become blissful, just by hearing the sound or the vibration of that mantra. And people will say, well, that's just, that's a nice thought, but whether it actually works. But we could all just been dancing in a circle before, saying Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Coca-Coca, Cola, 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 Coca-Cola. It's not going to have the same effect. And we can say, well, yeah, it does. Then try it. Do you want to all do it now? Just do it like Coca. No one's into it. But if we start Hare Krishna, and I've seen, because I've been doing this for many years, I've seen. We've gone into like Burke Street Mall, and I've chanted all over the world. I've chanted under the Eiffel Tower. I've chanted all over the world during this chanting. And I've seen we're chanting on the streets, and it becomes infectious. And then by the end of our chant, sometimes we've got dozens of people with us, and they're all dancing and chanting with us. You see YouTube videos down St Kilda Festival. We have like a big festival, and we're all chanting, and there's like hundreds of people just sitting there, and they're all just doing the same thing. They're all just, closet Haris just coming out. It's like that. So let out your closet Hari. but it leads to happiness and bliss. So the sound vibration, the names that we get, they hold a spiritual sound vibration, which purifies the consciousness. And basically, consciousness is all transformed through sound. Everything you do in your life is based on sound. You watch television, right? And you hear sound. It says, do this, do that, buy that, go here, do that. And then by sound, or you meet someone on the street, one of your friends, they say, I just went here. So by that sound, that influences your consciousness and creates your next activities. So if you're hearing spiritual sound, that shapes your consciousness, so you'll head in the spiritual direction. So it's a choice everyone has to make. Sometimes people say, well, how do you, maintain, you don't eat meat, you don't have illicit sex. No, how do you do these things? Like the world's so full of these things, and how do you have this strength and everything? Because we have this spiritual sound, which directs our consciousness and gives us the strength and the purity and the determination to head in a particular direction. So you just associate, you can go home tonight or tomorrow night, go home, be in your kitchen, you can just be dancing around the kitchen table, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and your husband walks in and you just look at him and you go, sorry, I lost it. I used to have a friend of mine when I first became a Hare Krishna. She was a nail technician, and she used to come and meet me at Gopal's, our restaurant in Swanston Street. We used to have dinner, and they always chant the Hare Krishna mantra, like it's the background music in the restaurant. And then next day on Monday, she'd go back to work, and she'd be, doing someone's nails, and she's going like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and the lady would go, what was that? She go, oh, sorry, because it's just, the spiritual sound was there. And then she asked me, she used to come and see me all the time. And then she said, oh, can I get a CD? Because, it's in my mind all the time, this mantra. Can I get the CD? And then I gave her a CD, and she'd play it in the background in her little home salon. And then, and then people started ordering the CD off her. Say, oh, can we get that CD? It just makes me feel peaceful. Because it's spiritual sound, it has an influence. And we have a woofer program here at this farm, Willing Workers on Organic Farms, just like Philippe, he's from, not that organisation, but people volunteer and they come and stay here from all over the world. And they get free accommodation and food for exchange to help us. That's what Philippe's doing here. And there's a Spanish couple a couple of years ago, and they stayed here for a month or so. And I was driving them down the train station, they were leaving. And she said, Keshava, I just want to ask you one thing. And I said, what's that? She said, that mantra that you chant all the time, that I've been chanting with you for the last month, I can't get it out of my head. She goes, is that good? And I said, yeah, that's cool. I said, that's actually good. Because the mantra is purifying the consciousness. She said, yeah. He said, when I chant the mantra, I feel peaceful. I feel happiness, I feel peace, I feel bliss, like that. So the mantra is free. You can have the mantra, take it with you. If it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. Okay. Any other questions? Madam, yes.
Now, we're talking about the karma carrying out from previous lives, and I can't remember if I read it or I heard somewhere about like when your soul goes through, to the next life, you choose your family, not. It was something like, depending on the teachings that the soul needs, then that's the family that soul will come incarnated. Anyway.
Kind of.
Yeah, but there's also the other thing that it makes me confused about karma carrying out, and how it's like you choose, but
we don't choose.
Yeah.
We don't choose. It's like you do choose, but you don't choose. Like that. There's like a New Age philosophy now that you choose your family, but that's not exactly true. It's like, because if that was true, right, we'd all be doing it now. We'd be writing on pieces of paper, I want a dad like this and I want a mum like this. Like, we're not doing that, because if we're choosing, then we'd be getting that in our next life. But it doesn't work like that. The way that we are choosing, because we're choosing by our activities and our consciousness, the way we act in this life, that determines our future. So the way we're acting now, that will determine who we get in our next life and what situation we'll be born in our next life. So it's not like you choose specifically, but it's true that you will get, according to what you deserve, then you will get that type of family. And you'll get a type of mother, and you get a type of father, and brothers and sisters, and that will be according to the way you're developing your consciousness, the way you've behaved, what your karma is, and then what you will get. So in one sense you are choosing, but not in a way like, oh, I'm choosing that one. It's not like, we're up in the spiritual realm and I'll look down the earth and I said, yeah, I want that one over there, in Argentina, and so, quick, ready, now. Like, everyone dies. It's not like that.
No, I understand the choosing as this will lead me to the understanding I need for this next.
Yeah, that's true. We're all supposed to be learning lessons, but the problem is that people don't know what the lessons they're supposed to be learning are.
But because it's the soul that is choosing, not the mind. Yeah,
it's not exactly like that. No. It's a philosophy that goes around these days. We're all choosing like that, but it's not exactly like that. What is that? Everyone in this room and everyone on this planet and everyone in this universe has one lesson to learn. That we are not the body, we are the soul. That is enlightenment. And you can say, well, I'm learning all these other lessons in life, which we all are, but that's the lesson we need to learn. That's the higher lesson, and all of us should be going towards that. And quite frankly, most people on this planet are not going towards that at the moment. So their consciousness is not leading them to a higher destination, it's leading them to not such a good future, probably. So it's a nice philosophy, we choose. My mother said that to me one time. She said, we chose this family. And I looked at Mum and said, I don't know if I would have chosen you. I would have. My mum's very close to me. But it's this whole philosophy that, it's like we all choose each other and stuff like that, but it doesn't work like that. There's laws. It's like gravity. Like gravity's a law, right? How does gravity work? It works like that. It's a law, right? So you try to go against that law. Go and jump off a building and not go down. Just float off. You say, well, I don't believe in gravity, so I'll just float. So it's like saying, I don't believe in karma. Or we just choose, I can just choose my family. It doesn't work like that. It's a law. How you act, that's what you will get. There's laws already set up and we're just being taken through them. Another law that we're all in right now is called time. Time is something that's going like this. Right? Stop time. We can't. Get out of time. You can't. It's a law that we're all within this universe. So certain things are above and beyond us. So when you say that, I'm choosing this, I'm choosing that, we're not choosing very much at all. We have a very limited ability. What we can do, we can become enlightened souls if we choose to. But in terms of many things, there's a lot of things that are out of our control. But we like to think, I control everything. Like when we were young, we used to get drunk and we used to go and sit on the beach and then, imagine I was controlling the waves. It's like, what's that? The waves are doing whatever they want. I just happen to be there. People think I'm controlling the moon. We're not doing anything. We're just these little people who think that we're controlling things. It's okay. Yeah, you want to add something?
No, yeah, I got it. Like, I just wanted to see what you think. Is that a karma or is that a thing about the soul choosing where it's going and the karma mix it or like all together?
It's both things, free will and karma. Karma means what you get from the past and free will means how you respond to it now. So both things, that determines our future, our destiny. I can take one more question. Does anyone have a question? Besides what's for lunch? Okay, very enlightening questions. Thank you so much. I feel very honoured to have all of your association today. I feel like I've grown by your associating experience.